So good evening, everybody. Can you just let me know by typing into the messages box if you can hear me and see the presentation that's going to be delivered today? That's fantastic. Thanks ever so much. Just want to welcome you all this evening to the presentation, which is going to hopefully give you some information about when you join us on the 5th of July. So you guys will be coming up to us for 2 weeks before the summer to get you used to everything. And this is just a little bit of information for your parents, for your carers, and for you as students, which is hopefully going to make the transition easier for you, and hopefully we'll be able to answer any questions that you've got with regards to the transition. So just a little bit of housekeeping to start with. If you can just make sure that your cameras, microphones are turned off for the duration of the session. We are recording the session to be sent to anybody who can't join us this evening. If you've got any questions at all, if you can type them into the chat box as we go through, and I'll try and answer them as we're going through. Any questions that are related specifically to your child, if you can email us directly, our emails will be given to you as part of this presentation, just to protect your child's personal details, basically. Okay, and just to reassure you guys, it is only RCS students who are part of this call. You've all accessed it via your child's email address when they join us at RCS. So please rest assured that it is a closed group, that only students of RCS and parents, carers will be allowed to join. So very, very quickly then, this evening we'll do a little bit of an introduction. We'll look at something that we call the Raw Marsh Way, discuss what form time is, the purpose of it, uniform and equipment, the canteen and parent pay, basic attendance and safeguarding, our basic behaviour policy, mobile phones, Chromebooks, rewards, the Raw Marsh Pledge, and then we'll do some Q&A at the end. Okay. So I'm standing in today to deliver your tutor information, because your new tutor is going to be Mr. Askew. Mr. Askew is working at another school at the minute. He's currently working at Wickersley Comprehensive School. I, however, will be your head of year. Okay, so although Mr. Askew, who's a science teacher, will be your tutor, you'll see me around all the time because I will be your head of year. Hopefully, I'll be your head of year throughout all of the time that you are at Raw Marsh. So the current year 11s who have just left, I was their head of year since they started when they were in year 7. So you might be stuck with me for 5 whole years. I'm a science teacher. Mr. Askew is a science teacher as well. So if you need any of us, if you get lost at any point, you can find us in the science department. Okay, so the first port of call, both for parents and for you as students, is by email. Okay, we are really easily contactable by email, and we can pretty much get back to you within the hour by email generally. So if you look at the bottom of the screen that's being presented, it gives you the basic email address of all of our members of staff. So Mr. Askew, who is going to be your form tutor, his email address is gaskew@rawmarsh.org. So if you've got any questions or anything, you can always pop an email to him, and he can try and answer them or refer it to the right people who can answer your queries. So, like I said before, my name is Mrs. Hazzard. You can obviously see me on the screen, but there's a nice little picture of me there, and Miss Glover, who is going to be your student progress manager. So Miss Glover, your student progress manager, is non-teaching, so she's available all throughout the day, by email, by phone, for meetings, etc. I'm teaching, so I'm unavailable for certain times during the day, but like I said, by email, I'm pretty much contactable all throughout the day. So my email address is ghazard@rawmarsh.org, and Miss Glover's email address is aglover@rawmarsh.org. So anything that may happen outside of school that you want to contact us about, please don't hesitate to whip us an email, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So one of the first things we're going to talk about today is the Rawmarsh Way. So the Rawmarsh Way is 12 statements that we like to follow, and we like the students to follow whilst they are with us at Rawmarsh, okay? And you'll find these posters put up all around school to remind the students of how we like them to behave, how we like them to conduct themselves whilst they are at school, and then also transferring that to their life outside of school when they're not with us at weekends, in holidays, etc. So some really, really important ones for me are being respectful and listening to others. So just making sure that we respect each other, each other's opinions, each other's choices, etc. And listen to others as well, because by listening to others, a lot of problems can be solved. And by being equipped to learn, so making sure that you are turning up to school ready to learn with PE kit, with equipment, etc. So those are 12 statements that we like to sort of live by whilst your children, students, are at Rawmarsh. The students will be rewarded for demonstrating behaviour that follows the Rawmarsh Way. So, for example, if any of the children have got extracurricular activities, if they achieve anything outside of school, we also want to know about that, because we want them to be proud of what they're achieving outside of school. So if there are gymnasts or dancers or footballers or swimmers or anything like that, it's always really, really nice to hear what the students are getting up to outside of school. So if they are making those achievements outside of school, please let us know. And obviously with parental permission, we can get that on the website and celebrate those achievements. So the school day looks a little bit like this. Hopefully, COVID dependent, we will be back to a normal school day when everybody joins us on the 5th of July. So form period will last for 15 to 20 minutes at the beginning of the day. So you will see your form tutor for that time in the morning, and they will check that everything's okay, that you've got all of your equipment, that you're set up for the day. They will give you important messages, and they will do activities with you. On your first day, you will go straight to your form room. So on your first day, you will be greeted either at the top gate or the bottom gate, and you will be shown to your form room by some of the student ambassadors, by members of staff, or if any of you have been on the tours, you might be able to find your own way. But we're also going to provide you with maps so that you can hopefully try and find your own way around school on that first day. So in that tutor time on your first day, you'll be given your timetable. So your timetable is really, really important. We'll probably give you a paper copy, but it's also a really good idea to take a picture. So you've got an electronic copy of your timetable on your phone, because you're probably less likely to lose your phone than you are a piece of paper with your timetable on. So tutor time, 8:40, while 9 o'clock. The bell for the day will go at 8:45. That is when our first morning register is taken. So at 8:20, everybody gets a warning bell. So that's your cue that you've got 5 minutes to get to your tutor room ready for registration. Any students arriving after 8:45 will be given a late mark, and persistent late, the students will have to make their time up after school. We've then got 2 quite long lessons, which are one after the other. So period 1 and period 2 are 80-minute lessons. As an adult, I find it quite difficult to not need the toilet in those 2 lessons. So it's very, very important that you guys go to the toilet before your first lesson. If you do need the toilet, try and go between period 1 and period 2, okay? Staff will usually allow students to go to the toilet during lessons, but if it's an important part of the lesson that they might be missing, they might be asked to wait 5 or 10 minutes. First break and second break are both 30 minutes long. So the 2 weeks before the summer, the year 7s will be given an extra 10 minutes break. So their first break will start at 11:30 and their second break will start at 1:15. And that's just so that they can get into the habit of going to the canteen, getting their food, seeing what's available, learning where all the toilets are, etc., whilst there aren't any other students around. So for the first 2 weeks before the summer, the year 7s or year 6s break times will be 10 minutes longer, but then from September they will have the 2 half-an-hour breaks. Okay. Period 3 and period 4 are standalone lessons, so they have a break or home time at the end of each of those. So they are 75 minutes, so it's expected that students should be able to not go to the toilet during period 3 and period 4. So like I've already said, the warning bell will go at 20 to 9, which will signal to the students that they've got 5 minutes to get to registration. If students are coming through the bottom gates, you can definitely hear the bell at the bottom gates. So if you're running a little bit late or on your last legs every day, you'll be able to hear that warning bell, and that'll be the signal to start running to your tutor room. Like I said, morning registers taken at 8:45 a.m. And any lates will be dealt with that day. If you travel by car, travel by bus, etc., and there's an accident or there's traffic or anything that's preventing you from getting to school on time, just give us a little ring beforehand, or even an email if it's safe to do so. Then we can log that so it's not recorded as a late. So as well as tutor time for 20 minutes a day, 1 tutor per week will be an assembly, which will be mainly hosted by myself, but we also get visitors in and other people coming to do assemblies to deliver important information. And your other form time activities will be based upon the Royal Marsh Pledge, which links into the Royal Marsh Way, different themed learning, so it may link in with activities and events happening all around the world, reading and debate, and they will also be looking at effort attendance, CFPs and CFC data. So it's really important to us that students know what their data is so that they can improve it or maintain it. So school uniform. Myself and Miss Glover have been into a couple of primary schools so far this week to try and meet some of the year 6s before they come up, and so that they know what we look like. And it seems that most of you have already been out and actually bought the uniform. So uniform, then the expectation is that the students are wearing black tailored trousers or a black knee-length skirt with the Wickersley Partnership logo on the upper part of the left side. All school uniform can be bought by Pinders. If you are struggling to get any items of school uniform, if Pinders are low on stock or they're awaiting delivery, if you just get in contact with us and make us aware of it, then at least for the first couple of weeks before summer, we can make certain allowances if Pinders have run out of stock, etc., if they're struggling to get hold of stock. White shirt, so this could either be long sleeve or short sleeve, it's up to you, and a clip-on school tie. So the expectation is that the top button of the shirt must be fastened in order for the tie to obviously clip on. And then boys will wear a black V-neck jumper with the Royal Marsh logo on, and girls have the option of the black jumper or the black cardigan. So PE kit then, looking nice and smart. The students will be expected to wear shorts, leggings or tracksuit bottoms with the Royal Marsh logo on, the t-shirt with the logo on, and then the females will wear hoodie and the males will wear the zip tops. The hoodie and the zip tops are not allowed to be worn as a jumper or as a coat on top of their school uniform. This must all be packed into their bags and they must carry it around. Black football socks, they can pretty much be bought from anywhere, and trainers. So please don't go out and spend loads and loads of money on new trainers for PE, because the chances are that they could get lost in the first few weeks. The number of emails that we get in the first few weeks, has anybody seen this item, has anybody seen this missing item, etc. So please make sure that you don't go out and spend a lot of money on new trainers, especially for PE. I would also advise that you add names to any labels, especially jumpers, trousers, PE kit, etc. Because everything gets confused, especially in the PE rooms. If people in the nice hot weather, if students take off their jumpers in drama and they're leaving everything at the side of the room, things can get obviously picked up by accident from other people. So footwear then. Advised footwear then is obviously being shown on the screen. So we would advise and expect that all shoes or footwear is plain black leather or fake leather. This could be in the form of proper formal school shoes, smart school shoes. It could be leather pumps, it could be leather trainers, or it could be the leather or fake leather little ballet shoes. The reason why we ask for leather or fake leather is because it is much more withstanding of if items get dropped on feet, particularly in technology, chisels, screwdrivers, hammers, etc. If that's falling on a closed on leather, it's going to be much more protective than if it's falling on fabric or anything like that. Another reason why we ask for leather is because leather is relatively waterproof and it will keep their feet dry. Some footwear that is not acceptable as part of school uniform. So we've got anything with stripes and logos on in any other colour than black. Anything with big buckles, because they can obviously be quite dangerous and heavy. And none of the plastic sort of rubber Vivienne Westwood style ballet pumps. We also ask that shoes are not fabric or not canvas, because obviously they are less protective when it comes to subjects such as technology, where things might get dropped on feet. In science, if a lit splint gets dropped on fabric, it could obviously catch fire or singe the foot, burn the foot. Acids, that kind of thing, which students might be using in science, it's not as protective as leather or fake leather footwear. So we do ask that footwear is full black leather. If any of you have got any ideas about what footwear you are wanting to buy for your children before they come up to us, but you're not 100% sure if it's acceptable, please just send a photograph or a picture to either myself or Miss Glover, and we can sort of advise. We can say, yes, that's acceptable, no, that's not acceptable. We could provide you with pictures, like alternatives. So please, if you're unsure, just ask. So accessories then. Makeup should be discreet and should be minimal. We're not saying no makeup. So we obviously understand that as students go through their teenage years, there might be skin issues, etc., confidence issues. So makeup can be applied, but it must be discreet. So a little bit of concealer, a little bit of foundation, a little bit of mascara, etc. If students do arrive to school with full face of makeup that we deem inappropriate, they will be asked to remove it themselves in the toilet to carry on with their day. We do say no to false eyelashes, because false eyelashes can fall in eyes and they can irritate eyes and could lead to eye injuries. And we say no to false nails as well, because they can also cause injuries to other people and to students themselves. We've had a number of students in the past, before we brought this rule in, who have been wearing false nails, and they have lifted the bed of their nail off, or they've scratched someone and caused quite a serious injury. So it's for health and safety reasons why we don't allow false nails in school. Extreme haircuts are not allowed. This would be at the discretion of the head teacher. So no extremely brightly coloured hair. If students are deciding to dye their hair, they can always check with us first about the colour they're choosing. But as long as it is a relatively natural colour, students can have their hair dyed. Jewellery should be kept to a minimum. So if students have got sort of a sentimental ring or a sentimental bracelet or watch, that's absolutely fine. We ask for studs or very, very small hooped earrings, like sleeper earrings, again, just for the health and safety aspect. Facial piercings are not allowed on school site, again, because of the risk of the piercings being ripped out by accident. If students have already got facial piercings, we ask that they get a clear retainer that is in place during school hours, and then when they get home, they can obviously put their actual piercing back in. Students will also, in their time with us, be rewarded with Raw Mars pin badges. So we've got bronze, silver and gold pin badges, which are awarded for effort, and we also have the pledge badges, the bronze, silver and gold pledge badges. So we like students to wear those badges if they're awarded with them, either on their jumper or on their tie, so it's showing their achievements. So being equipped to learn then, it's really, really important that students arrive every single day with 2 pens, just in case one breaks or runs out, 2 pencils, a ruler, ideally a sharpener and a rubber, and a bag that's big enough to hold pencil cases, PE kit, and any books or homework or worksheets that staff might ask them to take home for homework. I would advise that the bag that the students are having is comfortable to wear, because obviously they are going to have to be carrying it around all day. If they're bringing a packed lunch, that needs to be carried around all day. There's nowhere to leave their items anymore, so they are going to have to be with them all throughout the day. So a comfortable and big spacious bag is a must-have. So the canteen then, the picture that you guys can see on the screen is the main canteen, which is located in the top block, in the centre of the top block. The main canteen is where students can buy all of their food. So everything that's available, students can buy in the main canteen. We are a cashless school, so there's no point sending cash or money with the students every day to buy their dinners. You are responsible as parents or carers for topping up your child's account by parent pay. So you will be getting a letter in the next couple of weeks about how to set up parent pay. It's like a website, and you will then use your bank details to add money to that parent pay account, and then your children can obviously spend their money on their account at school. Attendance then. So attendance is really, really important at Royal Marsh, and it's not just for us, it's important for all of the students as well. So anything below 95% attendance we deem unacceptable. 95% attendance by the end of the year means that students have had an extra 2 full weeks of lost learning. So a little day here and a little day there can soon add up. Everyone, we would like to aim for 100% attendance, but obviously we do accept that illnesses and things like that happen, which might mean that the students can't make it into school for the day. But 100% should be what we're aiming for. 95% is the minimum. Any holidays that are taken during term time are considered an unauthorised absence. So if you decide to take a 2-week holiday during term time, that will be 10 days of unauthorised absence that's recorded for your child. Anything below 90% attendance is considered what we deem a persistent absence. So you may find that the attendance team are in contact with you regularly, maybe potentially doing home visits, etc., to find out why your child is taking so much time off school. If attendance is an issue for your child, attaining 5 good GCSEs would be the aim for all of our students by the time they leave year 11. And achieving 5 good GCSEs, including English and maths, drops dramatically when a student's attendance is under 95%. So maths and English especially are really important when it comes to college, universities, getting a job, etc. Every term, students that have got 100% attendance will get a certificate, photographed with their peers in the main hall, and there will be attendance draws where the students can win cash prizes. There will be other presents, other rewards that the students can receive if they have 100% attendance at the end of each term. So in terms of safeguarding in the school, every member of staff in school is responsible for safeguarding, making sure that your children are safe and parents and families are safe as well. We would encourage all of our students and parents to talk freely to anybody in school about any worries or anxieties that they've got. Obviously myself and Miss Glover and your form tutor are the first port of call, and then we can obviously refer it to the people who deal with that as their specialism. Year 7 PSHE curriculum talks about different statutory topics intended to prevent potential safeguarding issues which may arise among young people at school. So we do a lot of work in terms of mental health, self-confidence, self-esteem, etc. In the PSHE curriculum, term 1, we talk about skills for life, which introduces friendships, how to make friendships, how to solidify friendships, what happens when friendships go wrong, etc. And then introduction to beliefs. So we like to educate our students in terms of beliefs so that they can understand, and it hopefully addresses any prejudice that is apparent. Term 2, we look at healthy body and healthy mind, and we look at the changes that happen to the body during puberty. And in term 3, we look at relationship boundaries, the law, safety in and out of the home. So the safeguarding team, then, the people responsible for making sure that you guys are safe in school, out of school, etc. Mrs Howard and Mr Wainwright. Then we've got Miss Palmer and Mrs Shirt, who are the counselling and support workers. And then the SEND team, we've got Miss Hodges and Miss Gibbons. So those are the people who you will be referred to if you bring anything to our attention that we think might need a little bit of specialist attention. So the basic rules then at Rawmarsh are pretty much the same kind of ones that you would find probably at home, at their primary schools. Making sure that you arrive to lessons on time, making sure that that uniform is worn correctly and in full at all times, arriving to lessons fully equipped, so bringing PE kit for your PE lessons, bringing pen, pencil, ruler for all of your math lessons, English lessons, etc. Doing as you are asked first time, not shouting or swearing at others, towards others, in corridors, and not arguing back. If you look at the bottom right hand side of the screen, you'll see a few key terms down there. So a CFC is what we call a cause for concern, and it's like a negative behaviour point. So we may have a concern about a student's attitude, about a student's language, about a student's disruptive behaviour, in which case staff will log a cause for concern, and that will either be dealt with by myself and Miss Glover, or it will be dealt with by faculty leaders. Sanctions. Students were sent sanctions when they are being so disruptive that they are ruining the learning of other students. So they are effectively removed from the class because it is impacting the learning of the others to an unacceptable extent. And then restorative practice will occur after they're sent to sanctions. They will receive an after-school detention. Parents and carers will receive an email or a text to inform them that their child has been sent to sanctions. And then the detention after school will involve the member of staff, the student, probably myself or Miss Glover, talking to the student about their behaviour, why it was unacceptable, what we're going to do to prevent it happening again. So within the classroom, we have three sort of rules that we follow. We will warn students first of all, so if their behaviour is starting to have a negative impact on the lesson, we will warn students. It is up to individual members of staff how many warnings. So I myself as a teacher like to give 2 warnings, and then I move on to the reflect. So we'll warn the student, warn them, remind them of the Rawmarsh rules. Reflect, so the student might be asked to stand outside and reflect on their behaviour, what's going wrong, maybe taking a bit of a time out to compose themselves. If that doesn't work, then they will be removed and sent to the sanctions room. So warn, reflect and remove is what we use in lessons to try and address any disruptive behaviour. Mobile phone, this is quite a big one. Mobile phones are permitted on school site. However, they must be turned off and in bags at all times. The only times phones are allowed in students' hands being visible is in class, in lessons, when teachers allow them to. In science, mobile phones are really, really useful in terms of the scientific calculators, stop clocks, videoing, photography, compasses, that kind of thing. So students are allowed to use mobile phones in lesson only when the teacher allows them to. Students can use their mobile phones at break times, but they are only allowed to do so if they are sat in a classroom. So the classrooms are generally open every break time. We have an open door policy. So students can go into the classrooms and they can use their mobile phones in there, but we do not want the students using them outside on the yard or outside on the corridors, because in our experience, that is when most phone damage happens, because they fall out of people's hands onto the gravel floor of the yard or in the corridors. If they get nudged by somebody walking in the other direction, the mobile phone is likely to fall out of the hand and potentially smash on the floor. Staff might also allow students to get their phones out at the end of a lesson to record homework, to take a picture of the screen, the whiteboard if it's got homework instructions on. So Chromebooks then. Technology plays an important part in ensuring high quality education. So we want to try and make it as affordable as possible to give all students access to technology to enhance learning. So there's two options in terms of purchasing a Chromebook through school. Option one is the Chromebooks for Students scheme. So you can buy a Chromebook using our scheme, which you would own. The Chromebook costs you $9.99 a month for 3 years. Comes with all of the safeguarding software. You can monitor what your child accesses. Accidental damage is repaired free of charge. So that's $9.99 a month across 3 years. Option two is loaning a Chromebook. So this is a new option. It gives families a little bit of flexibility and lowers the cost. So the Chromebook is returned at the end of each academic year. It's updated, it's serviced. If the Chromebook is damaged, you are, however, liable for the cost. Through this option, though, you only pay £22 per year every year your child's in school, and then you would return it to the school when your child leaves. So there's two options there if you wanted to purchase a Chromebook to assist learning, etc. So rewards then, loads and loads of different ways that we reward our students for doing anything positive. We can award CFPs, which are causes for praise, which are the positive points. We would award praise points, which is a combination of their CFPs minus their CFCs, and then top-up points for effort and attendance. At the end of every academic year, we do an awards assembly and we nominate a top boy and a top girl, and then they will wear the golden tie for the next academic year. We do effort ranking, so we do a data collection every at least every term, and that data collection ranks your child's effort in each lesson. We do awards assemblies, so at the end of each half term, each term, and at the end of the year, we will do awards assemblies to give rewards to 100% attendance, top CFPs, top effort ranking, top praise points, etc. We do Royal Marsh Pledge Awards. We're going to talk about the Royal Marsh Pledge in the next few minutes. Curriculum Awards, which the curriculum staff will award effort grades for and recommendations for. And gold, silver and bronze awards, like the little pin badges, for effort, attendance and punctuality. So the Royal Marsh Pledge is an initiative that we started this year, and it links in with the Royal Marsh Way. So the Royal Marsh Pledge has 3 categories: active citizenship, life skills and British values. So each of the Royal Marsh Way statements links into active citizenship, life skills and British values. So students are able to tick off specific tasks which will help to meet the Royal Marsh Pledge. Every time a student meets the Royal Marsh Pledge, they will receive a CFP for the aspect of the Royal Marsh Pledge which is being met. So it's at this point that I unfortunately need to log off. However, Mr. Skiro is going to take over and finish the presentation for you. I'm just going to double check that he's here and all set up before I pass you over to him. But like I said, if you've got any questions at all, please do not hesitate to email us, to ring school and leave a message with reception, even if it is just to send us a picture of potential school shoes so that we can say, yes, that's fine, or no, that's not fine. Please don't feel that any question is too stupid at this point. There's no such thing as a silly question, especially when it's all about preparing you guys and preparing your children to join us at Roarmarsh. So I think Mr. Skiro is about ready. Are you ready, sir?
I am, yeah. If you hear any strange loud crashes, the classroom door that I'm in keeps slamming shut because the windows are all open. So apologies if you hear that. So, Miss, have you just finished the pledge, or are you just up to it?
Yeah, we've just done the introduction to the pledge.
Okay, right. So obviously I can't edit your slides, but I can talk briefly about the pledge if needed, or I can just move on to questions. But essentially, the pledge is our way of trying to encourage you all to go above and beyond just the stuff you do in the classroom. So it's our way of trying to get you to engage with all the things that are really important in life. So engage in your community, getting involved in wider community activities, helping out with things around the house, volunteering, developing all those softer skills that are really important for careers and just making you a well-rounded person as you grow up. So what happens with the pledge is that we reward you for every pledge task that you do. And there are a number of pledge tasks at different levels, bronze, silver and gold, that you can work through at Key Stage 3. And then there's another set of skills you can work through when you get into Year 10 and 11 at Key Stage 4. We reward you with certificates and badges that you can wear on your tie. And I think you may have seen some examples of the badges earlier on. And you'll learn a lot more about the Roarmarsh Pledge on the first day of rollover. Now, I can see in the chat box there's just one question so far. If you want to add any questions into the chat box now, please do so. I can see that Harry's started us off. And Harry's question is, will our lessons be with our forms or will we be mixed with other people? And that's a really good question, Harry. And the answer to that is that because there have been no SATs exams this year, we won't really be able to put you into sets until September. So the first 2 weeks of rollover at this point, it's probably likely, I suspect, that you'll be having your lessons in your tutor groups. However, in September, you will be set in each of your different subjects. So you'll be in different classes for every different subject that you do. And we'll figure out what sets you should be in based on some sort of what we call baseline tests. So we'll do reading and spelling age tests and some sort of numeracy tests as well to work out which sets you should be in. Okay, I can see another question then. Now this must be, I can see the surname Yip, this must be Curtis's sibling. So I have an allergy, which means I would have to have an EpiPen. Will I have to carry it around myself? We always recommend that we have 2 EpiPens in school. One should be carried by the student and the other one should be with our first aider, who is Miss Presky. She's kind of the lead first aider. So yeah, any allergies that require EpiPens, student keeps one, lead first aider keeps the other one. Sydney's got a question. Will we be mixing with other bubbles? Now that's a question at the moment, Sydney, that I'm afraid I can't quite answer yet because it depends a little bit on what Boris and the government advise us to do over the next week or so. I think there's another announcement on Monday, which should give us a bit more clarity on that. So I can't give you a definite answer on the bubbles yet. We're certainly hopeful that the bubbles will be dismantled for when you guys arrive, but I can't promise that for definite at the moment. Evie's got a question. Do girls have to wear PE tights? Can you wear any colour of PE trainers? Okay, so girls, I believe, have got the option of PE leggings. I think you can wear shorts as well, if you prefer to wear shorts. In terms of trainers, I'll have to check that one, to be honest. I'm not 100% sure on what the what colour PE trainers have to be. So I'll get back to you on that one, Evie, because I'm not 100% sure. Kelsey's question, how long are the lessons? So the lessons are typically 1 hour and 20 minutes. You have 2 break times, which are of half an hour each. I think the period 4 lesson might be 1 hour and 10 minutes. It's slightly shorter, but 1 hour and 20 minutes is the typical length of lesson. Callum's question, will we be, or will our lessons be around the whole school? That question, Callum, depends on the answer to Sydney's question about the bubbles, because as you know, at the moment, we've got a different year group in each block. And if we don't have bubbles, then you'll be around school. If we still have bubbles, then there'll be some restrictions on where you can go. At the moment, we are trying to be as flexible as we can, obviously without breaking the government guidance. Okay, where are we up to? Oh, right. Evie's questions about tights for the school day with school skirts. Evie, that is up to you whether you wear tights. If you do wear tights, they just need to be of an appropriate colour that goes with school uniform. So I would suggest that you wear black tights if you want to wear tights. Thomas has got a question. With PE, would you have different sport every time, or do a few lessons on something and then do a different sport? The answer to that, Thomas, is you will do a bit like in your other subjects. You will have a focus for a particular half term usually, and that will change on typically a half termly basis. So you'll get plenty of variety when it comes to PE and sport. And if you've been up to the school already, Thomas, I know many of you have had your tours, and some of you have got tours coming up over the next week or two. But if you've had your tour already, you'll have seen that we've got the fitness suite, we've got the sports hall, there's an old gymnasium and the courts as well as the fields. So there's plenty of good sports facilities here for you to practice lots of different sports. Finley's got a question. How long is each play time? Okay, so we call them break times here at the comp. But each of our break times are 30 minutes. You will have one after period 2, and you'll have one after period 3. And there's an opportunity to get food during both of those break times if you wish to. More questions then. Sydney, are there any after-school clubs? The answer to that, Sydney, is we've got a massive variety of after-school clubs. At the moment, a lot of them have been put on hold because of the restrictions, but we're looking forward to reintroducing as many of them as possible. We've got a wide range of sports after-school clubs. There's also there's a science club that's always very popular. We've got extracurricular performing arts as well. We do school shows and sort of music showcases. So if you're quite musical or into drama or performance, there's lots you can get involved in with that from the very first day of year 7. And there's always new clubs starting up all the time as well. Okay, other questions then. Callum, will our PE be with the whole of year 7? So you tend to be in year halves. So we have 9 form groups. Half of those form groups will be on A half, and the other section of the form groups will be on B half. And usually one half of the year will have PE at any one time. That's because we obviously only got a certain amount of PE staff. And if you were on all at the same time, we wouldn't be able to staff every single group. Okay, next question is Evie. I have a Chromebook. Do you need to bring it into school every day? So with Chromebooks, I would say the main benefit of Chromebooks is being able to use them at home for independent study, because it's set up just like the Chromebooks that we've got that we sometimes can be booked out in school for lessons. So it's primarily to be used at home for independent study and homework. It gives you easy access to your email accounts. You can bring it into school if you choose to. If you want to use it in lessons, that's fine. Obviously, that depends on what your teacher is planning for that particular lesson. Okay, let's continue to go down the list. Can you bring your scooter or bike? If you can, where do you have to put them? So that's from Jacob. So Jacob, you can come to school on your scooter or bike. We've got some sort of bike shelters at the front of school near the car park. We've also got some other places where you can lock your bikes around the back of curriculum support, which some of you will have seen. There's plenty of room for bikes and scooters. Just make sure you bring your own sort of security, your own padlocks and what have you, if you do bring them into school. We did once have an incident where I think someone tried to pinch some bikes at the front of school. So just make sure they are locked up. Okay, other questions? They're coming in thick and fast. How many times a week do you have PE? Now, I think in year 7, it's once or twice a week. I can't remember if it was if Miss included that in the slides earlier on, but it's once or twice a week for PE. Another question from William. Is a Chromebook essential? I have a mobile I can access the internet with and a laptop at home. So Chromebooks they're by no means compulsory. You don't have to buy a Chromebook. They are there if you want to. And I know Miss Hazzard's been through the options that Chromebooks have in terms of flexible monthly payments and things like that. The whole point is that we offer Chromebooks to make sure that if you need a flexible way of paying for them, you've got that. We just want to make sure that everyone who needs access to IT at home and in school has got it, but you don't have to have a Chromebook. That is entirely your choice. Harry's question: how much homework will we have? It's hard to answer that question with a precise amount, Harry, because it varies depending on the subject, varies depending a little bit on the teacher as well. And some of you will be used to having different levels of homework in your primary schools as well. So I don't know whether it will be more or less than what you've got at the moment. I would certainly suspect that you will get a few hours a week. But again, it depends. It will vary from week to week. We don't really have a set kind of amount that we say is a maximum or a minimum, particularly. Okay, so I can see I'm going to have to scroll up for a couple of questions because they're coming in very quickly. I can't keep up with them all. So the next question then, Kelsey, do we mix lessons with the other year half or stay in our year halves? What tends to happen is you tend to stay in that year half, and we have sets on each year half. So we usually have 4 or 5 sets on each year half, and there you stay in those year halves usually until you reach sort of year 9. And then when you reach year 9, we start having options, and then the year half sometimes gets shifted around a little bit to fit the options that you choose. Thomas's question: what time will the gates open? The gates are open very early, Thomas. So don't worry if you are someone who gets into school quite early. The caretakers have the gates open. Certainly by the time I arrive here, which is usually about sort of 7:30, 7:45. So yeah, you should be able to get in bright and early if you want to. Evie, how much is the different food? Well, the most popular food that we do in school, Evie, is the meal deals, and they're £2.15, I think it is at the moment, and that allows you to get a sandwich or wrap, a snack, and a drink. And the snack is typically things like cookies, flapjack, fruit pots, that sort of thing. And there's a variety of drinks that you can have as well as part of that. Finley's question: during break time, can you bring a ball and use it during break? Well, that depends a little bit on the bubbles, if I'm honest, Finley, because we normally have some of the courts available for each year group. Now, when you've got time on the courts, you can use a ball on the courts. That's absolutely fine. It depends, obviously, if the bubbles are still in place, then access to the courts is a bit more limited. So that's something we'll have to answer for you when you arrive at rollover. Okay, another question from Mini Yip. Are year 7 going to be coming to and from the bottom gate or the main entrance? once again, that's a question we'll have to get back to you on, because it depends on the bubble system. If the bubbles are still in place, then you will have a fixed entrance that you all have to come through. If the bubbles are not in place, then you'll be able to come through bottom gate or top gate, whichever is more convenient for you. But that's something we'll confirm for you once we've got some clarity in terms of bubbles. Okay, just scrolling down. So Sydney then, question about public transport. So travelling by bus, what happens if the traffic is poor and I show up late? All I can say for that, Sydney, is just try and get the earliest bus you possibly can, so that you can get there in plenty of time. Obviously, there may be occasions where if there's been an accident, you may be delayed for a period of time that is out of your control. And obviously, where that's the case, there's not a huge amount you can do about that. And we'll try and be sympathetic when that happens. But certainly, if it becomes a regular thing where you were late, then we just have to say to you, you need to get an earlier bus. Okay, for tutor class, will we be able to sit anywhere, or will there be a seating plan? We usually do have seating plans. It's kind of at the discretion of the form tutor, to be honest, but most tutors do have seating plans. And I suspect they'll start with a seating plan primarily to get to know your names. And certainly if we're in bubbles, we will have to have a seating plan to comply with track and trace. So seating plans are likely, but again, it depends a little bit on where we are in terms of bubbles. Kelsey, do we have to wear masks in class and around school? At the moment, the answer is no. You don't have to wear masks at the moment. The government may change the position on that, and we will follow their guidance. If you wish to wear a mask, some students still are doing so. That's their personal preference, and we are more than happy with that if that's what they wish to do at the moment, for that bit of extra protection. Okay, let's see if there are any more. Thomas, what would you do when you come early? When does the first lesson start? So form tutor starts at 8:40. And if you arrive in school before that, the form tutor, the classroom is open for you to access. So you can sit in there, you can socialise with any friends. There are some extracurricular things that do sometimes go on before school. There's a few clubs that you may want to take part in. For example, in the micro library, you can go and read or use the computers in there. So there's other things you can do as well. But you'll always have access to your classrooms before school and at break times as well. Elise's question, will there be people to show us where our lessons are? So what we've done previously in past years is I normally get some of our student ambassadors to be on hand to sort of show you guys around for the first couple of weeks while you're here, so you get used to where you're going. So we'll try and make sure that happens again. Obviously, again, we may be limited by bubbles, and that's still up in the air. But if bubbles are certainly not in place by the time you guys arrive, then we'll have our student ambassadors on hand to be around school to point you in the right direction, especially in the morning and around break times. Okay, Finley's question. Do we have desks with other people, or are we on ourselves at a desk? So in a typical classroom, we usually have 16 desks. It's the space for up to 32 students. In the classroom I'm in, I think that's true. The desks are arranged slightly differently in each room, depending on the size and layout of the room. But usually, I would think in most classes, you would share a desk with another pupil. Breakfast club from Alfie. We do normally do breakfast clubs, Alfie. Yes, we've put them on hold during the current restrictions, but we are hopeful that breakfast clubs will be back up and running, and we've got a few possible developments with breakfast clubs that I might be able to tell you about from rollover. And at the moment, I think we've run out of questions, unless anyone's got any more they want to fire my way. Okay, I think we've exhausted the questions then. If you do have any other questions, then you've all got my email address. It was myself that emailed you with this link for the session. So if you want to get in touch with me, obviously Miss Hazzard directly, then you're more than welcome to do so. Any of you that have got personal questions about your child, then please get in touch via phone or email, and we can deal with those discreetly for you. But thank you so much for joining us, and I hope it's been useful. As I've said, tours are still ongoing, so we've had, I think, probably about 60 or 70% of students have had their tour around school, but they're still happening over the next 2 to 3 weeks. So hopefully you'll all have had a chance to have a look round before rollover, and hopefully this session has answered lots of your questions. One final question has come in. I'll answer this one, and I promise this is the last one I'm going to answer. So, do we play with our friends on different classes? At break times, you will be able to socialise with any of your friends from any different classes that you wish to mix with. So that's no problem at all. Fab. Right. Thank you so much then for joining us, and I look forward to meeting you all very soon.
Me and Gemma.